This is the Power of Osmosis podcast, powered by the Vidwheel Creator Network. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is the Power of Osmosis video podcast, powered by the Vidwheel Creator Network. I'm John Osberg, also known as Johnny Osmosis, and I am joined today by three incredible, passionate, resilient entrepreneurs here in the West New York market. Joining me now, we've got Stephen Hussak, Anthony Hussak, and Alex Hussak of Start Imagining Birds, LLC. We got a lot to unpack today. I'm really excited. It's fun getting to know these individuals here kind of on the podcast platform. Some folks that are doing great things in our community and are living lives of passion and transformation. So looking forward to unpacking things like, the resilience to pivot during a pandemic, the family orientation of their business and the passion of which they lead. There's a Zoom intro there for you. And then a lot of other things. I'm going to try to keep my sharpness here, but we'll get to that. So gentlemen, first of all, welcome to the show.
John, thank you very much for having us.
Thank you, John, for having us.
This is exciting. We had a 15-minute prep session where it was mainly me getting tangential on my energy and passion and excitement to be welcoming the three of you and getting to know you as our podcast listeners and watchers, our millions of them will get to know you and your business and what you're doing in the community as well. So I'm excited. Why don't we start with introductions and whoever, Stephen, if you want to lead the charge.
Sure. All right, Stephen Hussak. So I'm the dad. And what's really cool is how often can a dad say he's working for his kids? Normally it's the other way around. And I've been blessed, again, with just two great boys and a great wife who allow us to run this business and get in all sorts of fun trouble, as you can imagine when an entrepreneurial venture is starting out. There's a lot of unknown. But just from my own background, I graduated from University of Buffalo in mechanical engineering in 1986. So I've got 35 plus years in the manufacturing world.
Wow.
And a couple of years ago, I had to take a break to take care of my dad who has dementia. Mm-hmm. And that kind of will lead into the pivot and why Start Imagining Birds was formed from Anthony and Alex, and they'll get into that. So for me, I get wound up by watching and learning from guys like you, John. I mean, I get so excited from your excitement of just doing things, of exploring new things. So for me, I feed off your energy to help propel us to say, oh, if we're stuck or if something's going on, let's just do it. Work through the problem, just do it, conquer, move on. And we're just so excited about everything. So that's kind of my short story.
Big time kudos there. Thanks for bringing that out. My gratitude for the kind shout out and remarks. That's exciting. And I'm excited. We're all excited. We're all energized. And I like to keep my chill podcast host cap on, but sometimes it combusts. So great summary though. Thank you, Stephen. And so let's go to Anthony now.
Sure. So as Dad mentioned, it's really cool being able to, have not only a family business like what we're doing, but to be able to have Dad work with us as well. And I know, Alex,
it's so much fun to be able to work as a family. It's so cool.
It's cool, and it's really cool because Dad's got the industry experience. So he's got, we're, kind of, want to do something quickly and Dad's like, now let's, slow down. It doesn't make sense.
Bring it back to reality.
Bring it back to reality. Let's think about it.
Been there.
Yeah, I do exactly. Having that, that reality check has been really important for us. And it's something that, we love. We don't take it for granted. It's just been kind of a natural progression as, over the last couple of years on our entrepreneurial journey as, versus brothers here doing this. And then we brought, Dad on board as well. And it's just been it's been quite a ride so far.
Wow. What a great story. I mean, I know we got to get to Alex as well. Thank you, Anthony, for that. Again, very succinct. Love that. But the rarity of this, right? Of how, and just the uniqueness and the cool factor, if you will. And again, there's so much, we got so much to talk about, and I'm excited to learn from the three of you and learn about you. So thank you, Anthony. And then Alex, go ahead, brother.
So I'm Alex Hussak, Anthony's brother. And so I graduated from UB in 2015, management and marketing. So I actually worked at Landy's Candies after that in Buffalo. It was really fun in the warehouse. It was cool seeing that part of the business for a few years. After that, we got the entrepreneurial bug. We did another family venture, all three of us and another family member, for about a year and a half. And then we started imagining. I'll let Anthony kind of dive into that as well, which that was on the consulting side, which leads into the birding side of what we're doing now. But like we've all said, it is so cool just working together as a family. Yeah, there's a lot of ups and downs, but it's having that togetherness, and we all just fight through it, and it's just so much fun.
Incredible, man. I'm getting goosebumps over here. Very good. Very good. Well, perfect segues, right? So the three of you outlining that, the family and oriented nature of the business and how neat it is to, like you said, Steve, in the beginning, right? To have your sons hire you and be working for them. And
Right.
I think there's some self-deprecation there. I'm sure they're learning quite a bit from you and are super jazzed to have you on board.
I'm learning a lot from them too. So it's two-way street. Love it.
Well, speaking of dad, something I learned from my own dad there, Dr. Timmy Osberg there, Dr. Oz, we call him, he's something that he's instilled that in me as well, that life is constant learning. You never know everything, and be open to it and be in that growth mindset. So love it. Tying in my father, my family. So, let's start. Let's talk more about start imagining as a business, right? So you hinted on that in the beginning of our chat here, the intros. Let's hear more, educate the audience on who that is and what you were all about.
Sure, absolutely. So what the whole idea, so my background is in engineering. So I graduated as an industrial engineer, back in 2010. So I had worked in engineering in different finance roles, between UB and another company here locally. Love what we were doing, but what I had wanted to do is I'd always enjoy the data side of business. So, whether it was, and more so the efficiency side. So looking at, Excel or Microsoft Access and looking at ways, how can a business utilize the data better? And, more importantly too, how can they utilize the programs better? I saw it too often where spreadsheet use was it was a bit sketchy sometimes, and just having some simple processes in place could make a huge difference for an organization, just for efficiency and understanding where their data was. So that was really kind of the starting point. So there was something I had always wanted to do. So back in 2018, I said, all right, this is my opportunity. Let's do Start Imagining. And the name Start Imagining, I think Alex, you kind of came up with that name, and it ties into, as brothers, growing up, and you're using your imagination to just play, dream bigger, just have fun. And what we wanted to do is we really wanted that to be for our business clients. We wanted them to have, imagine how they can use their programs and their data better. We wanted them to, kind of dream bigger. Think about it in ways they maybe aren't doing right now or hadn't done before, because they're mired in the day-to-day. We can come in and say, okay, we're kind of an outsider to the organization. This is what we can do. And did you guys think about trying it in different ways? And we had a lot of fun doing that. It was, we were growing. I mean, like anything, it took a little while to get going, and we were really building some traction through 2019 on different projects in different industries. So, we were involved in, investment management, debt collection, manufacturing, auto racing. We were involved in a lot of different business types and structures. And we were getting a lot of experience and having a lot of fun doing it. Then came 2020.
Yeah.
Year to end all years, it seemed like, huh?
Yeah. Because for Start Imagining, we were, it was like the week before everything was shutting down. We were actually,
we were at Dig in the co-working space.
Dig downtown.
Literally.
All right, wait a minute. Unplanned, boys. Unplanned. It's kind of weird because of the design.
Nice.
Let's go.
That? Look, what a segue in here. So yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah. So literally, like in mid-March, Anthony and I went down to Dig because we were about a couple of months prior. We were thinking about doing a co-working space that could really be good for us to collaborate with other people, and especially being downtown. So we did a trial run like the week of literally everything falling apart. So So we did it anyways, and literally everything shut down. We were like, okay, well, we're not gonna do this anymore. So,
Wow.
And the funny thing is too, is because, we were on the verge of some really large projects that would have propelled through 2020.
it would have taken us to the next level. We had so many big projects lined up that really would have elevated us to, after that year and a half of just hustling and grinding, it was like, okay, we finally have made it to like level B, I guess you call it. Fell apart.
Yeah.
Well, and if I might interject quickly, well, one quick thing, right? So the unplanned nature, and this is a largely unplanned session here that we're having, but the dig thing, that's too funny. Shout out to Pat Whalen there. Patrick Whalen, great entrepreneur who was behind that, probably a good friend and mentor. Anyway, I wore this shirt purposely though, knowing just a bit about your story. I wore Rise on purpose. And I had colored that in the beginning of the introduction of this podcast, of that there's a great deal of resilience sitting in this virtual room here between the four of us. Even I'll certainly include myself on that.
Yes,
Absolutely. That's topic for another time. The focus is on you three. So how did you feel? Is candid and open or authentic, whatever you want to call it, as honest as you want in front of our audience about what was going through all of your minds. So the three of you, when this happened, where pandemic hits and you're, like you said, Alex, excuse me, you were just getting to that, starting to get a crack of sunlight through the whatever we want to call it. Right. And so all of a sudden, boom, the sunlight's gone and it's full darkness. It seems like. What were you guys feeling?
I mean, part of it was just like, I think it was so new at the time, no one really knew what was going on. So then we were taking like that 1 or 2 week period and just trying to figure out, okay, is this where we want to go? Mm-hmm. The word at that time was pivot. Everyone was talking about pivoting at that time. How are you going to get through this crisis? And
especially everything dried up as well.
Yeah, we had several projects lined up, and companies said, we can't do this.
Right.
Understandably so. This is all crazy going on. We need to focus on our day-to-day and our employees. And literally is keeping things afloat at this time. We can't worry about as much as we want to do new projects or advance and all that. We can't do it. So yeah, that was our time of rebirth and just kind of going in a different direction.
Yeah, and I'll add to that too. And during that time, you're kind of looking to say, all right, what do we need to do? We were at a point where, since we were just growing, there wasn't we didn't have to go too far to fall, I'll say, to kind of start over, because we were on the climb up. Unfortunately, we hadn't made it all the way to the top yet, or we were, so we could, when we were looking at, all right, how long do we want to wait this out? And looking and knowing that we're, as entrepreneurs, we don't like to sit still for very long. I think that's how we're all of us here together are wired. We don't want to sit still. We want to keep moving. We want to keep looking at ways to, not only do better for ourselves, but do better for our community and for those who we work with. And when the app, and I'm going to call it, ultimately, it was an opportunity for us. We had looked at our family passions and our interests, and this will kind of lead into a little bit on the bird side here in the next few minutes. But we looked at this and said, all right, during this time, we have an opportunity, since the Excel, the data stuff, it's not going anywhere in the next 6 to 9 months here, more than likely. Just while knowing the respect that we need
shutdowns.
Knowing that we need to respect other businesses, that they're, they need to do what they have to do as well, just like we have to. So in that meantime, why can't we do something and think about how to pivot to bring joy to others? We, and as a fan, and be able to still work as a family, that's first and foremost. But what about bringing joy to other people through products or service that we can provide? And then Start Imagining Birds was formed shortly after. It was in early
middle of the year.
Early April. I did at the LLC together. And kind of, we went through the whole process again with that. And, and Dad was just, it was interesting because we had just started, like in late February, early March last year, we were branching out a little bit on the consulting side for him. to be able to work with more kind of customer service and some other manufacturing realms. And then, of course, again, everything kind of
came to a halt.
Yeah. So then we said, all right, good. Well, we were going to bring you on for this anyway. So now we can just kind of slide you on over to Start Imagining Birds. We're going to migrate you over.
Yeah, that's great. Dad was hired and fired in a month.
Yeah, well, and also migrating like birds do, right? You migrated. Look at that! Exactly. Look at that tie-in. That's crazy. Exactly. Wow. I mean, it's just amazing. Like it's so inspiring. I know we've talked, and Anthony, you and I know each other a little bit, and a word that gets thrown around, is inspiration, motivation when people think of osmosis and what I'm doing. And I'll tell you, I'm so inspired by you guys. And I don't just say that plainly. I don't say that lightly.
I appreciate that.
I really appreciate that.
And that's the whole, and thank you for your appreciation of me. And that's the whole essence of osmosis. And there's some things we'll unpack maybe later. My mind goes right to actually, again, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but it goes right back to these cool things that will literally get my ring light issue there. But these beautiful cards that you were so kind to make for me, and some of the collaborative things. So that's what osmosis is all about. So I'm vibing so good on this, and it's so resonant. So please continue though. Getting excited over here.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So then we'll bring, so on the birding side too, and where some ties in is what I'm going to call, the struggles we've seen with the grandparents, just with, the aging process, the dementia, and and this is actually where, Dad can jump in a little bit here and kind of talk about some of the inspiration behind on the birding side and bringing joy. And because we really started out our core mission is bringing the joy and the beauty and joy of birds to our seniors and children. That's kind of goes back to like our donations that we do, right? E-commerce store, back to nursing homes and children, child care facilities as well. But Dad, you can maybe jump in a little bit real quick.
Well,
bring up a little bit of the background and tie in on the family side and, just what we saw,
right.
2019 too.
I mean, one thing for me, and we're all going to be at that level someday, John, where you have to take care of a loved one.
Yeah.
And, you're taking care of parents or grandparents. We're the sandwich generation, or my generation is kind of called the sandwich generation, where, you're still kind of looking after the kids and you got your parents to look after, and you have yourselves to look after as well, your own retirement. But with Dad, with his dementia, in 2019, it got to the point where we had to do what we had to do. Finances aside, we needed to take care of our family. So we did that. And, eventually Dad had to go to, assisted living and skilled nursing. But in the meantime, all the hospital visits, the doctor's appointments and everything. So the boys and the family in general, we saw a lot of hurt in the hospitals and nursing facilities, a lot of loneliness on your elder side, and then on the pediatric side, the kids fighting, the cancers, the illnesses. And just, we wanted to do something that, again, could help alleviate, and even for a split second, give somebody a reason to smile, get their mind off of their trouble temporarily, if not, God willing, permanently, that there's a solution medically. So the birds typically, for our family, has always given us a lot of joy and a lot of hope and a lot of entertainment as well. So we figured as a family, how can we use birding to bring smiles and joy to others? And so that's where, the Start Imagining Birds came in. And I have to say, going through COVID, and you see a lot of people kind of reprioritizing what's important in their lives. Yes, everybody needs to make $1, no doubt. But is everyone going to be working 80-hour weeks again? Or is somebody going to take a break and just stop, observe what's going on outside, listen to that little chickadee out there, enjoy the sunrise, sunset, take a stroll in the woods, and just enjoy? Because, we found life is short. and life is unknown. You just don't know. So yes. And so we're using the birds to bring that out and bring awareness to others. And, I'll let the boys kind of go from, and this, they pivoted from start imagining birds, but within start imagining birds, we've had several pivots in start imagining birds in the last 9 months. And it's all been a natural evolution of where we started, we'll start imagining birds, to where we are today. And it's been, for me, again, I've been a part of a $1 billion company, mom-and-pop companies. I've seen all sorts of regimes or management and this and that and products. And seeing what we're going through now, I've just been amazed at watching the process firsthand. Not as when you're an employee in an organization, a lot of times you don't see what goes on behind the scenes. You don't see the struggles what management goes through. You don't see the heartache and the decisions that need to be made. Well, we're living that real time right now. So, every decision we make has a consequence, and hopefully a good consequence. But you learn along the way. We're learning every day. We're learning what to do, what not to do. That was a dumb thing we just did, or that worked out real well. Let's continue doing it. So I'll let why don't you guys kick in then from start imagining birds part A to part B.
And if I
everything,
you
got it all, you got the whole alphabet covered here at the end of this year, maybe. But if I might just color something really quickly too in the conversation, it's amazing because entrepreneurship, right? So I'm a solopreneur, but certainly with a group of entrepreneurs here. So we're all entrepreneurs, but it's amazing too. It's something that comes up in conversation, a lot of that, the intrapreneur concept, right? So you're an entrepreneurial kind of individual, associate, employee, whatever, of that $1 billion business or that mom and pop. But you're not, you're a layer or two or however many, maybe you are like right on the fringe of seeing what I'll call seeing the sausage or the sauce, how the sauce is made, right? Versus, knowing how to make it. Like, there's a difference, right? And so what you're describing there is that exact thing. It's that, you make a decision today, you might feel it an hour from now, right? Or even maybe it's a day, a month, a week. Right. And like you said, good or bad. And one last thing I just wanted to throw out there, because I know you all commiserate with this, but you wake up, and I saw this with someone, this guy named Nick Barry, he's a fitness enthusiast, nutrition guy, but he talked about the life of an entrepreneur and how, 6 a.m. wake up, workout, you're up, check emails at 7 o'clock or whatever, and something's wrong, you're down. Then all of a sudden sales numbers and revenues. So it's boom, 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 boom. And when you were saying that, it's incredible. So the synergy, but amazing. Thanks for the insight. And then, so obviously Anthony and Alex, I'm excited to hear from you on these topics here.
Yeah. So, you want to carry that?
Yeah, sure. I'll have to back up real quick. So it's like just going off the up and down, how true that is. It is amazing the emotional roller coaster that we go on like
daily,
hour by hour, sometimes.
Hourly.
Like we could be battling with each other. Like, what are you doing? And then something good happens. It's like you're on top of the world again.
It is. It's amazing.
Finding that baseline though, right, gentlemen? Finding that baseline and also developing and building systems that allow you to be as close to baseline as possible so that you can combat that emotional roller coaster that is going to seep in. It's going to happen. But it's things like proper nutrition, sleep, movement, breathing, all those things I like to talk about, which for another topic, for another time. But there's tools for entrepreneurs that can help them stay as close to baseline as possible so that, you aren't in that fight or flight mode constantly, which can create obviously stress and then burnout and all that, stuff. So anyway,
it's really keeping the eye on the prize. You're not going to get to your goal until you go through, all the dirty work that you have to do to get to that point. Everyone wants to get to the top. Right now, I want to skip the hard stuff, but we're finding out you have to go through it. You're it's learning to embrace that journey and knowing like this is a long thing. It's not going to happen today, tomorrow, even next month or 6 months. Just going on that journey.
Yeah.
So well said. Anthony, what would you add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So then kind of I'll pick this up then. So started managing birds kind of part B.
Yeah, please.
So when we started out originally, the whole idea, going back to, the bring the smiles and the beauty and smiles of the birds to the seniors and children, our original market was I'm going to call it the nursing home side. So we were really looking at engaging and working with nursing homes throughout, to start with the Northeast and the eastern half of the U.S. here, to reach out to them and offer different programs and different ways for them to buy into the 6x9 photo cards that we were developing and kind of putting together for them. And, the idea behind that was it was a beautiful bird on the front, and on the back, it had a nice description of the bird or, some facts, bigger font, nice, easy to read. So really the intent was to be a really fun reading activity for some would be in there, isolated in their room. They, because during the, last year, and I think even to this point too,
no family,
you really can't have the family visitations. Group activities are limited at best. So a lot of it is, may still be within, where it's in the rooms and it's not as interactive as it was previously. So our idea was, all right, these 6x9 cards could be a really fun way for someone to see a little nature, have something that it's their own. They can display it. They can put it up on a nightstand or, bookcase or a dresser, whatever. And, be able to have something that they can read about, look out their window, see, and all that. So that was really the first, I'd say, couple months or so that we really,
that was the really big focus.
That was a really big focus. So we were reaching out to hundreds of we just bombarded the nursing home industry. We really, we
got after it.
Yeah, we got after it. I mean, we went after them, and surprisingly, we actually had a decent amount of response
and interest,
considering everything that was going on. It wasn't, it wasn't completely ignored. But one thing we quickly found out was and learned about were budgetary issues. And what a nursing home or a care facility is willing to take on as an activity, or not take on as an activity.
Right.
So by looking at that, we really decided, okay, there's definitely long-term potential here, but we need to look at from the viability of what we need to do. We need to make sure we have something more consumer grade that we go after. So that product evolved into, we actually, we did offer that to the general public as well. And we, customers on those 6x9 cards, and we provided the, easels that they could, they could display. It was pretty, it was a really neat concept that, it just took a little bit, and it struggled to really gain a lot of traction.
Yeah, it was really realizing that we had to pivot to something a little, I don't want to say exciting, but more consumer driven.
Yeah.
And something where somebody knows immediately what it is
and what they can do with it.
And exactly. Yeah, right.
Hey boys, can I hop in real quick?
Go ahead.
Okay. So on top with the 6x9 photo cards that we developed, the other side of that equation were the hospitals, the children's hospitals.
Yeah.
So we donated over 1,000 of these cards to 15 major Northeast children's hospitals last summer.
Wow.
Primarily, again, to bring smiles and joy to the kiddos. So, with HIPAA laws and all that, it was hard to get photos of the children with the cards, but we were able to obtain a couple of photos. And again, to see a little child who's fighting pediatric cancer, and he was sitting in his bed, and he had all our Chirp to Joy cards around him, and he was holding one. I mean, it brought a tear to your eye because you saw the smile, you saw that little diversion that we're praying for, that somebody could realize through this beauty of birds. So we knew from the pediatric side, we were on the right track. Mm-hmm. But again, from the hospital standpoint, especially during COVID, budgets were chopped. So there was no opportunity at that time to really approach the hospital system to see how can we integrate these cards to give out to patients. So that isn't gone. We just kind of backburnered that for now while we've developed the more consumer grade products.
Got it.
But again, that bringing smiles and joy for, again, the elders and the children is really, really key to what we want to do in the long, over the long haul of Start Imagining Birds. And our overall goal is to, again, just perpetuate using the beauty of nature, this God-given beauty, to again divert some attention from everyday problems that a lot of people experience. And you read the stories in COVID about the nursing homes. So we're one of those examples where I didn't get to see Dad for 10 months before he passed away. So we couldn't visit him. I couldn't hug him. I couldn't give him a kiss. And the boys, their grandfather couldn't talk with them. We had a couple window visits, but that's not the whole gist of everything. So it was really humbling and really taught us a lot about just life in general, the fragility of life, and don't take it for granted. And when you have an opportunity, bring smiles and bring joy to someone when you have an opportunity.
Yeah, and Stephen, I get emotional even here thinking of myself as a strong empath, right? Of empathy. I'm sorry to hear that too about your father, your grandfather.
Thank you.
I'm certain he'd be proud of the things that you're discussing here and the things that you're actively working on 24/7. So from that to kudos, no doubt. But there's one thing that you touch on: smiles and joy, right? Smiles and joy. What does that really mean, right? Not to put you on the spot, but like it's a word that starts with H, it's 5 letters. What are we all trying to be while we're down, on this place called Earth, right? We're trying to achieve one thing, to be starts with an A. Yeah. And so, and it's something that, and thank you. I was hopeful that I described that well enough to where it wasn't like, as we're live here, live in our recording, but, at the end of the day, I mean, the cliches aside, when you start to look for the answers, right? When you are compelled enough to search out what it means to truly be happy, you have that enlightenment, that awareness, whatever you want to call it, life changes. And it basically becomes a cliche that I think that we're all seeing together. And the cliches could be bad, they could be good. In my opinion, they're mainly good, because it's like, when you become a person of passion, you can't be stopped. Like, this is for you, it's visceral. For the three of you and for what you're doing with Start Imagining Birds, right? It's rooted in a visceral passion, right? Like, and a Viktor Frankl quote that I've quoted several times in other podcasts: when, suffering ceases to be suffering when meaning is found. And you three have certainly unlocked your meaning. And there's great kudos to be taken. And it's really cool because you've got a father with 2 sons who are pursuing their passions. They're building something. They're creating impact. They're creating legacy. And by there, I mean the 3 of you. So it's just such a great story that, I mean, and I'm sitting here candidly, I'm in my head, like, and I know Anthony and I have talked here and there, but I'm the innate connector, the constant connector. And I'm like trying to make sure I stay locked in as I'm like, oh man, I got to connect over here in this company, in this home. And so, but it's because you are people of substance, and your company is of substance in that you're creating impact and legacy, and you're doing what you love. So diatribe aside, just major kudos and gratitude for all that you're doing. This is just the beginning. This is just a start. And in the words of Trevor Moawad, who's a brain trainer, the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. So I'm not even wrapping up. It feels like I am, but it's just it's an exciting thing to be a part of, to be listening to be witnessing. And also, we got to get this out on the news, man. What are we going to do? We should on air figure out, like, what are the angles? Are you already pursuing? Because, and I'm ranting. So one last thing though, it's sincere. It's that this is a story that needs to be told. I mean, this story needs to be all over the place, in my opinion, and I have no affiliation formally. We're becoming friends. We're getting to know one another, but I just cannot help myself as Johnny OZmosis here in the flesh, that this is something that's rare and unique and inspiring, and that needs to be in my opinion, on the national stage. So do you guys have plans to like, well, first of all, and again, I'm not concluding because I know, there's a framework issue here, but how do we engage? How do we find you? And are there plans to do some big kind of media or press releases on this story that's happening in real time?
I mean, I think, like we've talked a little bit briefly too, John, is, our whole goal is to continue to expand to a national level, to a national scene. We want,
the long-term,
what I'm going to call kind of the mid to long range plans are really, it's getting the word out about what we're doing, because we truly believe that because of the uniqueness of, and the story, it's something different. And I'm going to say it's, I love tech. I love tech startup companies. I love all that and I love data because we did that.
We did that.
We did it. So we love that. But one thing you don't see too often is a younger company trying to do what we're doing in a very unconventional way. Birds, smiles and joy, making someone happy, making someone, when they see your product or they see your interaction, they smile. They genuinely want to purchase from ultimately purchase from you,
right?
But because they like your story, they like they like what you stand for. As a company, they want to work with you. They want to support you, and they want to basically say, look, we will, we're gonna follow you. We support you. We stand behind you 110%, and we want to see you guys succeed. So that's been a struggle for us. I'll be honest.
Yes,
it has been one of the biggest struggles, because it's been trying to get the word out and trying to just, as we're learning different social media, we're learning different advertising, how to market.
But COVID, if I can jump in, COVID really hurt because it killed the in-person interaction, which you guys, we were building. Right. We were having all those in-person meetings back last February, March. And you were looking for the co-working location, and all of a sudden it came to a screeching halt. So the interactions are starting to now open up again, which is now starting to lead to that interaction that we need to continue to grow. But John, I mean, a lot of our, I don't know if Anthony shared with you, but like a lot of our birds is one of our passions. But we're into model railroading, we're into auto racing, we're into a lot of old style hobbies that, and we're kind of introverted a little bit. We're not, we're uncomfortable a lot of times just going out there and jibber jabbering to the world. It's against. And we fight it, and it's an honest thing that we're trying to do better at in sharing our story, because we know it's a cool story, but we are a little bit more reserved. So it's unnatural for us, I guess. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and honestly too, it's something that I've thought about myself as to parallel and be additive. It is, like you have this story, you are passionate about it, but it depends on your personality's makeup. And I believe that we're a mixture of the two, extrovert, introvert. I know a lot of times people might think that I'm totally introvert, totally extrovert, but there will be situations in which you are more of one than the other. And it sounds like the three of you are introvert dominant, right? So that's maybe more where you tend to go to, where your hobbies, your family, that internal space that you guys like to enjoy in your own rights. But there's something to be told here, and there are a lot of organizations locally, regionally, nationally, right, that are doing these types of things, right? This type of a forum, this podcast. One thought I've had sitting here organically is, the three of you having a podcast would be, I think, beneficial in more ways than one. Maybe one of them is it's like the gym reference, right? You don't go to the gym just thinking you're going to show up day one and squat 500 pounds. You got to put reps in, right? And that's an element of comfortability to that, right? So a level of comfort, and maybe for the three of you, right, on air, on record, whatever you want to call planning, brainstorming, maybe that's a way the three of you start to tell your story, is to create your own podcast. And shoot, I've got 5 names already in the top of my head that you can title the actual podcast name. And, again, because of the uniqueness of what you're doing. Father and 2 sons. Yeah. I mean, And it's in the name of not just the three of you and your immediate family, but the extended family and generations to come, and the generations that have already, kind of lived out their lives and wanting to, again, impact legacy. So I get it. I'm there with you. It's like, do I reach out to this reporter that I know that could do a story on osmosis, or do I kind of just let it happen organically? It's all that kind of that the lens of what you're looking through at that given moment for that decision to be made. Right. And it's like, you know what, right now, something happened that day where I was excited. And so I'm going to go get that opportunity. I'm going to go reach out to, again, shout out to Dan Miner of Buffalo Business First, who's a pal and does some great journalistic work. And I think you gentlemen know him, but do I reach out to Dan? Right. It's like, hey, Osmosis is doing these things. It's not about osmosis. It's about Start Imagining Birds. It's about the other clients, not that you're a client, but my clients. I don't care about osmosis. What I care about is turning eyeballs and engagement over to the companies, the products, the services, the community initiatives, the people that are doing great works. And again, you, my friends, are checked every box. So I get it. I feel it. And hey, maybe there's a podcast in the works, the three of you.
And John, that's why you're an inspiration to us, though. So when we look at your LinkedIn posts and all that, I mean, we sense your excitement. So we look at that and we use those as examples for us. It's like, look what Johnny's doing, so it gives us encouragement to, go out, pave that way, scream from the mountaintop. And, and we all know in sales and marketing, all that, no matter what you do, a lot of people are going to slam the door in your face.
Yeah.
Okay. It is what it is. You keep going. You're the ever ready bunny.
Keep going.
We just keep go. And sooner or later, somebody will listen. If you believe in it, somebody will listen.
Well, and it's energy too, right, Stephen? And Alex and Anthony, right? It's energy. There's passion. It's tangible. It's visceral. It's a word I use often in my coaching. It's magnetism, right? Like you can magnetize yourself through passion and energy. I'll tell you, Anthony and I, again, limited interactions, but we did get together and Anthony was kind enough to hook me up. It looks like my ring light is cooperating here. So I got this
good there.
This beautiful, I got to angle it, but this beautiful, thank you for your support card that I'm going to be sending out to my clients. Again, shout out to the Osmosis clients there. But my favorite part, Anthony, I'm going to let you unpack this because again, limited interaction, but in the things we've done, it's hard to see because of this ring light. And I wonder, maybe is this going to look stupid? Let's see. It kind of helps.
There it is. That's
good. Yeah, there you go.
That looks good.
So, you got that, the back of it, right? You got the front of it, this beautiful product here, high quality laminate. And maybe I'm saying these some of the words wrong, but then I got this and hey, obviously it's blank, but I have a to-do on my ever growing to-do list to write these out and send that gratitude in written form because it is powerful. I just got one the other day. Here, really quick. I mean, I have a friend who, and I'm ranting and I apologize. I'm sorry, but thank you. Yeah, no, I've got scores of not scores with sounding like I'm bragging here, but there are many of these cards that I receive. It's not all at once, and we don't need to get too crazy here, but it's again, and this is someone else's card, but I'll refrain from obviously showing that, but it was just thanks. It was thanks for some of the things that I've done with this woman. Shout out to Maureen Kemeny. I guess we'll do that too. She's a transformative wellness coach for women. And I'll tell you, that's powerful. It is powerful to get that note, to see the intention behind it. And that's why I get so juiced and excited when I think about the never-ending opportunities for Start Imagining Birds to, again, deliver that joy, deliver those smiles, happiness, inspiration, motive, whatever it may be. And anyway, I had a question for Anthony. I'm getting too excited here. I'll go one more time. This is the back of it. Anthony, I'm curious if you want to outline kind of why the bottom looks the way it does.
Absolutely. So when I was talking to John, a few weeks back before I approached him with the idea saying, hey, can we, it'd be really cool to do something. And, John's like, yeah, absolutely. Let's do this. Let's make something really cool and creative and memorable. And, initially I had said, all right, cool. So we'll come up with front, back, whatever. And then it's going to be, Osmosis consulting and information on the back. And John's like, wait a second, where's your information going to go? And, ideally, what we had done and what we've done for some others as well is we kind of white label it. So we make it, we take the focus off of us. and we want to make someone look good with what they're presenting. We want it, with these kind of, I'm going to call it like boutique, real short run type custom cards, but it's all about, it's all about you. It's all about, your customers and all that. And, John, you're like, no, we need to have, this needs to be, in collaboration with Start Imagining Birds, and, to kind of show that partnership, show that, businesses supporting other businesses, and how that kind of that local feel, that local connection. And when we did it, it's like, wow, number one, it was a lot of fun. We really appreciate you allowing us to do that for your cards, because it turned out really cool. And looking at that, it's it's really neat, because it allows, puts a little bit on us to say, okay, cool, this is our product, this is our card, but then it's in collaboration with your business. So it's a cool partnership type collaboration. And, we're all about collaborating. That's what we like to do. And, highlighting others, helping others. And so, yeah, that was just really cool, a really cool, card that we were able to come up with for you.
Yeah. And I'm so grateful too. I mean, it's a great model. It's that give first mentality, right? So give first, or give without expectation of anything back. And, I had even just unpacking that even further. I remember I had not some choice words that I was angry at you, but just generally like, a certain 4-letter word that I was like, blank that, like I want your brand there too, man. And
put it on the back.
Yeah, right there, right there, baby. But but even too, you mentioned local and business and all that, but even on a grand, I know you're thinking this way too. We're on the same wavelength here, but it's humans helping humans. I mean, forget the location, right? There's that national growth that you want to not want to, but you will be driving, with every single day's effort that you're putting in as a family. But yeah, it's a mantra, a basic, right? Back to cliches, right, gents? It's do the right thing, do the right thing. And use those filters in your everyday life. Ask yourself, does this serve me? And that decision to, do something, whether good or bad, before you do it, if there's any question, ask yourself and do it out loud. If you're by yourself, if you're with a loved one, whoever, does this serve me? And it's a mantra that I think as humans across the globe, that something that we should try to reintroduce and start to really put at the top of the brain, or the top of the mind, and have that. It's so simple, but so powerful. And again, major kudos, major gratitude to you gentlemen, and what you're doing with Start Imagining Birds. It's just so cool. Like it's so authentic and so real. And just one more thing, I saw is it a red-tailed hawk? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you're saying that right.
There's a such thing as a red. See, I'm a like a junior birder. I know, Anthony, I texted you last week or something. I saw,
last week you did.
Yeah, spring's here, right? And it's like I see these beautiful, woodpeckers, and I know you had like a downy, was it? If I remember,
it was the downy woodpecker. You touched over. It was so funny because you sent that photo over, and I went to Alex and said, "You know what? We must be doing a pretty good job because you're paying attention to like the woodpeckers, and kind of seeking them out, or you hear them, or you see them, and
it's just cool.
It's just cool. Yeah. It was cool for us to see that because and that's been. And you're right, with it being springtime. Migration season's going to be coming up here over the next few months, but you're hearing the birds now. I know you're a runner, so you hear them now. When you're out running, morning, you hear them.
It's beautiful, man. It's nature's soundtrack, right? And I just made that up. Is that something that gets said? That feels like it was very natural. Nature's soundtrack.
It flowed.
Happy,
but in sincerity, I can already, there's two things, right? So before I forget it, I was running, and that's why I asked about the red-tailed hawk, because I was in Elm Lawn Cemetery, and that sounds a little weird, but there's a reason I go there, for peace and reflection and gratitude. But I saw this beautiful, beautiful, massive red-tailed hawk, and massive to me. I have seen one bald eagle in my life on Grand Island, New York, and it was like
beautiful.
Yeah. It was a religious experience, and I'm getting goosebumps now. Even there's massive, beautiful, majestic birds, but I saw this red-tailed hawk, and I literally thought of this podcast shoot coming. And no joke, it was a beautiful day. Maybe it was still kind of chilly, and I kind of was like, yeah. like I got excited. It was near the end of my run. That's probably a part of the reason why I was so excited. But but in sincerity, as I finished the diatribe, I think there is something that can be derived here, right? Is that we're now breaking back into the springtime where I'm seeing my neighborhood, people are everywhere. There's people walking, dogs, strollers, running, whatever it is. And I think there's a campaign that needs to be thought about there, maybe a little brainstorming, authentically kind of on the fly that, that could be a great social campaign even right there of just, get back outside, enjoy, the nice weather coming, check out the Blue Jays in your backyard or the Cardinals in your backyard. And by the way, Cardinals symbolize a loved one who may have, who's passed, things like that. That's just, it's a constant connector in me. I can't help myself. So anyway, I'm talking way too much as the host. Forgive me.
This is good. Yeah. It's good back and forth here.
Well, and so on that note, right, this is going to be likely, I would like to say, the first of many. I'm excited to follow your journey and have our audience too as well, discover you or maybe rediscover you because, start imagining, was a different type of business in the beginning. And now it's evolved, which is amazing. And kudos again for the resilience for rising. But where can our audience find you? What platforms, and then are there any plans for anything, really neat events? I don't know, just something that might be a cool way to kind of close off our first conversation here today.
Sure. Yeah. So you can find us our website, www.startimaginingbirds.com. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/Chirps of Joy, Instagram, Chirps of Joy. Those are the platforms we're on right now.
Yeah. LinkedIn. Yep.
LinkedIn doing great work, by the way. I see that LinkedIn stuff, man. Those pictures and the content. Anthony told me that it was you, Alex, behind that. So, and by the way, it's just to make sure it's Chirps of Joy, right? So CHIRPS space of joy, JOY, and that will be in the summary, the show notes. So everyone that's watching and listening are, as I always joke, man, until it becomes real, law of attraction, right? You put that out there and manifest, but our millions of watchers and followers, listeners, they'll be able to then find information about, your business here, Chirps of Joy, Start Imagining Birds, right? Yes. So there's anything else that you wanted to add there in terms of social?
Hey, Alex.
Nothing in particular. If I may give like one product kind of advertisement real quick.
Please, go for it.
All right. So Mother's Day is coming pretty soon. So I just wanted to show you our Mother's Day cards.
Beautiful. Okay, what's that there?
Was a female northern cardinal. Of Mother's Day cards. Are all female birds. Absolutely beautiful. Just wanted to plug that a little bit.
Oh, I mean, I appreciate you doing that because it is around the corner. And sincerely, before we hang up here, I'm in. You were kind enough. I also told Anthony, I was like, let me. I am a startup, but I can definitely give something for, as they say, for the effort. But I'm definitely interested in that because I've got some really cool and beautiful mothers in my life, aunts, and obviously not like that. My actual mom.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely interested in that. That prompted me also. So, you got this Mother's Day campaign, this product, this card. Where can we find you now that we are reopening? I saw some recently cool, exciting news about brick and mortar.
Yeah, so we're actually in some local retail stores as well. So our first one actually was really cool a couple weeks ago. We're in Identity Boutique in Orchard Park.
Identity Boutique.
Little boutique shop. Awesome owners. So our blank note cards are actually there. Yeah.
It's cool. Very neat.
We're in Two Chicks and a Rooster in Lancaster. Another just really cool little gift shop. So many cool Christmas items. So you can find our birthday cards, our Mother's Day cards, and our blank note cards there as well.
Sure.
And those are the big ones right now.
Yeah.
Well, you got Pathways up in Lockport for the My Town
Pathways
series.
In Lockport.
Yeah.
Carson's soon to be for our My Town series down in Attica.
Yeah, and she did the really cool, John. So we did some custom cards for her with its like greetings from Wyoming County.
Yeah.
I think that's what we did.
And then greetings from Western New York.
And greetings from Western New York too. Yeah. So it's part of the My Town series. And basically what we're doing with that is with all these little retail outlets that we're reaching out to is, part of our discussions are, we want to find these stores, these smaller gift shops. Ideally to kind of start off with, greetings from, my town, New York, or my town, wherever that is.
That's really cool.
It's really a cool concept because you don't see, and with some of their store information maybe on the back and all that. So it's almost like a really cool note card idea and concept customized for their store and their location. So it's
kind of cool.
It's really cool because it's something that's not really, you see a lot of, greetings from different towns or, and all that, but the way we've packaged it with the birds combined with their, a short run customized type approach, it's a really cool, really fun concept that we're really rolling out.
That's amazing. Really, it's super cool. And I'm so glad, I mentioned at the top of our chat here, Stephen, you were kind enough to give me some kudos and shout out for the energy and excitement. And this is the stuff that gets me excited, to see growth, to see progression, to see people doing well, to see people making impact, to see people self-actualizing, to achieve, getting closer day by day. It's a Kobe Bryant phrase. It's not the destination, it's the journey that is really, that makes the most of it all, that makes it the most, our life, there's a reason to live. And the three of you gentlemen, community, entrepreneurship, resilience, family, passion, grit, tenacity, all these words summarize the three of you as a group, but together individually as well. And it's been a real pleasure. And there's actually something that I was thinking, again, as that constant connector, as we're about to wrap up here, that off air definitely remind me, I want to broach a connection, a topic of a potential connection I can make to the three of you, to start imagining that could be something really cool, collaboratively focused, as OZmosis likes to do. Connect, collaborate, champion. That's what it's all about, baby.
Awesome.
That's what it's all about.
That is what it's all about.
Yep.
You got it.
Hey, John.
Yeah, Steven.
I just want to make a quick shout out to the startup community just in Buffalo. I mean, kudos again to what you've done and your inspiration to us, but also to the startup community of Buffalo and Western New York. I mean, we follow them closely. We used to go to, when it was open, the coffee club, Buffalo Open Coffee Club, over on Delaware before COVID.
Which reminds me, gentlemen, sorry to interrupt, you're Lockport, New York, correct?
Correct.
We've got a Niagara Open Coffee Club every Monday that's now back to in person, and they've seen serious growth there. I'm a Sherpa, a guide with Pat Whalen, mentioned at the top of the call. And sorry to overspeak you there, Stephen, but that is definitely
track, right?
Again, exactly a track where I'd love to see you three there, or however many you can make.
Yeah.
Three, if all three of you, great, but it's a place, a platform, just like Buffalo Open Coffee Club. Kudos to Jack Greco, Clark Dever, when they were doing the Techstars thing.
Yes.
We're now doing that socially distanced, mask, sanitizer, et cetera. And it's also online as well. So I had to join this morning because it was such a busy day online, but there's nothing better, truly, another, I guess, a plug impromptu for Trek, for Pat Whalen, Roscoe Naggett, and then Niagara University that are doing great works within Niagara Falls, the city there. So I'd love to see the three of you there. And again, I don't mean to overspeak, but totally agree. The startup community is doing great works here. And there's a lot to be thankful for.
No.
Absolutely.
So, hey, listen, I wanted to get a quick picture that we can share, real time. If you guys want to smile real quick, I'll give a thumbs up here if I can see it. There it is. And we'll do it real quick. And I'll send that to you afterwards. But yeah, this has been such a pleasure. I was so looking forward to this and so appreciate too. There's a lot of authenticity and of course, everything, but there was candor and vulnerability that was injected into some of the topics we talked about, which takes a lot of courage. So just know that I recognize that and I appreciate that. I'm sure our audience will as well. And that I'm rooting for you. There's a lot of folks that you may not even realize that are rooting for you, because I've heard that line a couple of times for OZmosis and myself. So know that you've got a big time supporter in me, and I'm excited for this to evolve, and both the way that we're interacting, but also to see your company continue to grow and do great things and just keep inspiring. So
thanks, John. It means a lot to us to hear that.
It really does, John. No,
from the heart.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you. And so, with that gratitude and shout out, I always have my finish here where I send thanks and gratitude to Vidwheel Creator Network here in Buffalo, New York, and the Western New York area. All this great stuff today has been brought to you by them with their equipment, their support, again, with the podcasting and this beautiful setup. So much gratitude there. It's a great way to end, because gratitude is what I like to think, really the essence of life. It's it's what keeps us going. As you mentioned, Steve, that's my favorite phrase, by the way. I can't believe you said that. Keep going. Let's go. But thank you again, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And, very excited to release this. This is going to get tuned up quick, turn around and shoot this out there. So thanks again.
All right,
Until
John,
next time.
thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank
All right,
you,
thank
John, for
you.
your time.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care.